And basically, the main gist of it is we're going to be talking about Rialto. So pretty quick and simple. Well, not really quick. We'll still make like a big long video of it instead. But yeah, that's the main idea. Is we're going to be covering Rialto today. Let's cover some things real quick. If you are on Twitch right now, welcome. If you want to keep up to date on when we do our Strat Chats, weekly Strat Chats, please follow. Mainly just because that makes things a lot easier. But yeah, I'm going to start recording for YouTube. Hello everyone, welcome to Strat Chat. Today we are going to be talking about... which one was that? Because I didn't invite these people in. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to clean up some things. But yeah, the main ideas is today we're going to be talking about Rialto. So yeah, if you're watching on Twitch, welcome. Please make sure to follow to keep up to date. But the main ideas is that we are we do this every Friday. It is of course Strat Chat, and so we cover everything pretty much. But yeah, that's big things there. If you're on YouTube, welcome. We do live stream this every Friday. It does change every so often. I think 3:30 is a good time to set everything on. I don't know what Garrett's doing at the moment because he should be in the Strat Chat room. Let me message him real quick. He is not. Okay. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Rialto today, covering all questions and stuff. This is a very interesting map, mainly to the factor of it's pretty, I almost want to say boring. There's not really anything too fancy. Oh, there we go. Garrett joined. Hey, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, we set everything up. We're ready to talk about Rialto. Are you ready for talking about first point?
Yeah. I'm trying to play solo the Widow's Mercy. Okay. So what do you want to cover on first point?
So I just want to cover first point of like what's key points. I think and a lot of things that you like notice. I think quick play Rialto is kind of entertaining. I don't really see much strategy with it besides just hold the corner chokes. It's kind of weird. I don't see the high ground being used, but I see potential in the high ground. And that's where I'm at, and where I find this map very weird is I see a lot of potential in high ground, but it's just not used, at least in quick play, from what I've seen so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not going to see anything smart done in quick play. It's kind of like an oxymoron. So, if you actually go back to the attacker's spawn, there's actually a lot of ways the attackers can attack on this map. And I think especially what will end up being seen, especially in competitive and tournament gameplay, is all the different routes that the attackers can go. I mean,
yeah.
all of the high grounds are essentially accessible to the attackers.
There's
the only high ground,
yeah,
which is not specifically accessible, is actually this high ground on the right, just coming out of spawn, right in the front of the payload.
And it's semi-accessible if you have a certain mobility, because you can jump across here. But it depends on the character. So I think technically Hanzo wouldn't be able to make this. Let me double check. I'm gonna go switch to Hanzo. Because I think that's the big thing.
He can, but he has to actually get past the choke first.
Yeah. And I see that you have like the 5 exits to spawn room. If you actually look, there's 3 on the low ground, and 2 on the high ground that let you in. So I find that very interesting. But if you also notice past the spawn point, there's a lot of open areas. So there's, if I remember right, I've counted 3 low ground routes.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that very interesting because there's that left side all the way over there. So I just threw an arrow over there. And then there's this right side over here that come around the back way. And I think the big thing is that left side would have been a good direction way back when Somber could get ult charge or health packs, because there's a large health pack on that left side down there. I'm gonna kick Abram. I'm sorry. He's being a nuisance. Sorry, Abram. Okay, so.
He's gonna join again.
Well, it's invite only.
Because he was killing John.
It's an invite only. But I see, because like the left side's very interesting because you have that health packs, all the health packs over there, and then the right side is a long corridor. So there's a lot of different things you can do. I think the safest route is actually the central. But like if you're here, this is easily boopable.
Yeah, but if you have especially your Rhine,
yeah,
and you're being cognizant of all the water and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can easily just come around here and take this large health pack in the room, even with a Sombra. I mean, you'd be losing ult charge for the supports, but it is a stable way to kind of get past this like 90% or 90-degree corner here.
Yeah.
That way you have that 45-degree angle looking in on that corner.
Yeah. And
especially so if you are managing the shields again, you can actually just come straight around here, back, even behind them.
You can make the jump with Hanzo.
Left, right.
You can make the jump with Hanzo. I just checked it. And you can go backwards. The jump. So, boom, across. But yeah, like I think this high ground overall, I don't think this front high ground is going to be used pretty much at all, especially in like high level play with like Overwatch League and stuff. I don't see these being used, and I find that over here, this is a high ground that I find very interesting because it does have straight shot to the spawn rooms, which I don't like. It's never really good in this aspect. But the main idea, that's the thing that I'm running into, is it's good high ground. But it changes, and that's where I'm running into. Sorry for shooting you. You shot me.
Oh, I was trying to shoot Widow.
Oh, sorry.
To win against the Widow.
Isn't it Chris? Yeah, it's Chris. Good luck. Chris has been playing the...
I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff is going to boil down to high ground play, especially with shields and high ground.
Yeah.
If you can actually mitigate the pressure coming off of the shields, or coming onto the high ground with the shields.
Yeah.
I think you basically have a safe high ground that you can just camp on.
Yeah.
I mean, even just like jumping on a high ground with a Winston bubble and just getting that 600 shield to peek over the edge and get all the damage output out.
It sounds weird, but I really see high ground being a big thing. Okay, what the heck? Abram, I'm kicking you again. Oh, he's interrupting mid-sentence. Yeah, I think the high ground's a big deal, just because of the pure factor, and I honestly think that this first point, at least, is like a better dive map almost. I really think it's a pretty decent dive map, and I think Widowmaker's really good on this, just because this back high ground, all above the capture point, the end point, has line of sight of that far direction where basically when you're coming out of spawn attacking, it's that right flank across the bridge and around the backside. She has really good line of sight there, and she has good line of sight of the door coming in, and she can rotate around. It's pretty nice, honestly.
It is pretty awkward. It's a
I almost see like
corners in terms of all the positioning. It's very closed off, so shields are very useful on this map. But at the same time, there's a lot of open pathways. So easy to block off pathways with shields, but with all the high ground advantages and all that, you can't necessarily get away with just shields on the low ground. It's pretty interesting map.
Yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams that just leave the first point just because of all the issues.
Yeah, they might just pull a watch point Gibraltar and go up first just to get some spam off, just to get some damage done, ult charge, stuff like that, and then just back off to the corridor.
Yeah, because the jump from the one high ground that pretty much everyone uses. Let me see how feasible the jump is. Well, you actually don't have to make the jump to the next high ground. So do you know where I am? I might just swap you over to my team real quick.
Yeah, that's probably best. Put Chris over there so I can still kill him.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and go to the starting high ground that pretty much everyone has gone to. Yeah, up over here. So I see, because like okay, Abram. Let's pull back. So like right here. Is he just harassing you?
Yes.
Okay.
Started spectating.
I switched him over to spectator because that's where he can't really do any damage. So yeah, did you have to respawn? Did he kill you? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So like this high ground, because like on Gibraltar, I've been seeing a lot more often where like a Winston drops his bubble and Zenyatta just actually shoots a little bit into their spawn to try to get a free ult charge, and then he goes back and starts they start doing other stuff. But I see like right here, if you walk over, there's the damn it, Chris. Oh my gosh, this is just a disaster. This is absolute disaster. But yeah, with this high ground, if you actually jump off and walk over here, there's a staircase that takes you upstairs, and I think, Garrett, you can see me taking that staircase. Yeah, I see that being used because it's going from high ground to high ground's pretty easy. In this on first point. Holy crap, we've been doing this for 37 minutes. Never mind, I've been live for 13 minutes on first point just because of all this mayhem. But yeah, I really think that people are going to use this first to just kind of get a little poke on Gibraltar kind of a thing, and then move back. I think in practice it might change for them to just defend on the back. I think attack-wise, the shield idea that you had is pretty good, of just trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. And then I do see that different routes are going to change. Because once you get past this corner, then I see people coming from multiple directions. There's always 3 ways to attack. And then there's the idea that oh gosh, that when you're, holy crap, the spawn room's pretty close as well, so it's just right over here. And I think this map's big on spawn room being close. So let's say we cap the first point. I think it's going to work exactly like Gibraltar does, and you get the bad spawn point, and you can actually run after people and try to get them. But besides that, I think it's kind of weird. It's almost like it's favored in the defense idea, but only in spawn advantage. And that's the big deal, is it's spawn advantage based. And so
yeah, I really don't see it as being defense advantage. I see it as being offense advantage.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too with all of the routes. But there's also that spawn advantage issue. Okay.
Gonna kick everybody.
Yeah, just kick everyone. I'm sorry, Chris. You're gonna have to go too. It's getting annoying. And we're delaying time. This is just insane. This is going longer than I wanted to. It's just like a complete like disaster. But yeah, I think the spawn advantage thing comes into play just a little bit, but I think it's only to counteract just the offensive advantage with all the routes. Because then you walk around here and you know what? Here's a better idea.
The group. Come on, request it. Go to my player name and request.
There you go. That'll probably entertain me. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's trying to kick us.
Okay. Holy crap, this is taking a while. Now I got all the administrative stuff together, so now everyone's happy. But yeah, offensively there's multiple routes, and I think that's a big issue. So like, let's say I did notice one thing of that people are saying you could put Symmetra's teleporter or whatever right here. I don't think that's gonna last for that long. Great, and my garage door is now opening. I swear. What is this? Everything is ruining everything. This is like the most rest in peace thing. But yeah, you can put the Symmetra teleporter there or shield gen. There's one issue though.
It's too easily visible from the other side.
Yeah.
That's my problem with it.
And I think it's going to be good for people who have no idea how to play, or don't really watch stuff. But after a while, they're going to suddenly notice, wait, this is happening way too often, and so they're gonna figure out something and have an issue because of it. Okay. Also, if anyone in chat, if there is anyone in chat, I don't know anymore. This has just been so much of a train wreck. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone was like, "See ya." Want more Lucios? Okay, fine. Let's get another Lucio in. Okay. But yeah, so moving on to second point. With the high ground, it's kind of interesting because you can put someone up here to just shoot down, and then they can rotate. A lot of this map I see is a shoot down and rotate, but this high ground I see is very much I kind of compare this map a lot to Watchpoint Gibraltar, because this feels like the shuttle in Watchpoint Gibraltar, where it's you have to, the team who is controlling the shuttle is more likely the team that's going to win. And I think the team that can control this high ground is more likely to win. By the way, this is called Opera House. I imagine that's what pros are going to end up calling it just because it's an opera house. But yeah, there's this back high ground that's going to be super useful. But again, it's all down to shielding. Is shields are going to be good because, yeah, they're open, but that's the problem is they're open. There's so many places you can get shot from. I could get shot from over there. I can get shot from right there. It's a super open map that I think shields, yeah, are going to be definitely needed. Yeah, and then I feel like Second Point has 2 stages. There's getting around the Opera House, and then there's going from the Opera House over to the Talon building, if you've noticed. Because there's like a stall. And this is probably, I think this part is the most defensively advantaged. Just because of how it has to round about and go all the way through. And a lot of the times they will stop you underneath this bridge. Because this bridge feels a lot like Junkertown, Dorado. Dorado First Point. If you know the whole bridge underneath and how it was known for getting full holds. I think this is going to be very similar. So it's very interesting. I think this map is going to be decided on if people can use the routes correctly for offense, or not get countered with the routes, and likely the spawn advantage for defense. I think defense on paper has a better time on this map, on paper, but they have to be very organized.
Yeah, I think if you're organized and you do the whole like kind of keep the high ground and rotate type of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
And I think yeah.
I think it would almost be better to run like a half dive comp.
I know.
Where you hold the high ground, and then once you get a few picks or once you get an advantage, then you dive on.
Yeah, you get an explosive amount. I think a lot of teams are just gonna straight up run dive. But if dive is the meta, because you could also just run a death ball if you're running the baguette. At the moment, I see teams just doing that. But I think if any map's going to be dive, it's going to be this and Gibraltar. I think the 2 maps are very similar in their play style. Even to the point of Third Point is just a straight map, pretty much. And the spawn point.
You have 2 turns, and then you run straight into the.
Yeah, and
it's exactly like Gibraltar.
Yeah, and the spawn point right here is really close again to the point. So it's basically going to be. I see a lot of this map is going to be snowball mechanics, because the strategy with maps that have a very close spawn point for defense is once the attackers cap, they rush the old spawn point, because a lot of people will still be respawning before you cap, so they end up being spawned in the old place. So you end up trying to rush to get to them and kill them as they're trying to run away. And then you end up snowballing around the corner. So I imagine that a lot of these maps, at least on Second and Third Point, are going to be defended on the backhand, because you don't want to defend too far up, because they're just going to snowball onto you. That's an interesting idea. Because Gibraltar is mainly defended mid to back on Second Point. Of course. Of course. Lasts for too long. Now I'm going to have to invite you. Here we go. And then. Oh. Okay. So yeah, with Third Point, I see it. I see Third Point also very much like Eichenwald. because it has the two sides at the end and little overhang, stuff like that. I see them very similar.
And it kind of, there's a lot of variability taken out in that third point.
Yeah, there's a lot less high ground.
So a lot less straight forms of attack, which means you might even see teams changing up their comps as you go through the stages, especially getting to that third point.
Yeah, I see teams, if they're running offensive dive, switching off of it for this last point.
I don't really know how well offensive dive would work with all the high grounds.
Yeah.
I would see that being a very awkward dive, like
I think it would
diving
only
up onto a high ground. That's kind of,
well, that's usually what happens. That's usually that's where dive originated from, was diving up to high grounds. Because you needed to contest the high ground and it was hard walking around places to get there. So the idea was to be able to switch from high ground to low ground pretty fast. Which makes sense. Any other thoughts on this? Oh, and the other thing is if you notice that first and second point have the same looking bridge, 3 of them, so you end up with 3 of these bridges going over the route with 2 holes. In the side. And I find that very interesting because that basically means that you almost can take up same defensive positions if you use those high ground points.
So where are you looking?
I'm on second point cap. Right. So like if you
bridges.
like okay, so there's this bridge.
Yeah.
There's the bridge that goes over there.
Okay.
That's in the middle of this
yeah.
Route, and then there's the bridge on top of the first cap point, very much like this.
Oh, okay.
So I find it very interesting that they're almost exactly the same. But yeah, like coming into this point is pretty much just getting through, and there's a lot of flanking routes as well. There's one. Is this one? No, it's not. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. There's a tunnel that goes underneath and around. If you actually notice, like watch this. This is a tunnel that you can go down, and it will take you around and up here.
Can't pick up any of the weapons.
Yeah, but I think it's because it's the that's a defensive spawn for second point.
No, I forgot about all this left room stuff. I guess unlike Eigenwald in the other 2 maps, there are more flanking routes. Yeah. I don't think you'd ever see teams explicitly going that way, just as a whole team, but I think Tracers, Genjis, all those flankers will benefit from it, but it's an easy place to get trapped.
Yeah, and I think this, for offense, is the easiest point to cap.
Third point?
Yeah.
I don't know. A respawn advantage is pretty
Whenever I get down there, I never get stuck there. Or if I do, it's very minimal. I think if you're able to get second and first point, third point would be the easiest out of them. But it depends on how much time you have left. But yeah. The other thing that I find very interesting is this little hallway. If you notice.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
all
think
of
a lot
its
of people overlook this.
glory, yeah. Because you can use it as
especially
pretty
with
good
this-
cover.
Yeah, especially right here, you know. Especially if you want a good bastion setup, oddly enough.
Yeah. And you can have a support around the corner. Yeah, I see that being used, but if they have a lot of fragging, then you might end up being a sitting duck or something like that. I don't know. This is why it's taken me so long to do this map, is because it's very odd. It's one of it could be very defensive or very offensive, and it really just depends on practice. Because at the moment, well, I almost think it depends on high level play. Because at the moment,
this isn't in the Overwatch League yet, right?
No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be. It is in the competitive mode. I think the earliest we're going to be able to see this is possibly the contenders. They might have them in the grand finals or something like that. But we might see it Overwatch Open. I'm not sure. But I know we're probably going to see it in the World Cup. At least. But if anyone has any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If anyone's watching on YouTube and you have any questions, go ahead and throw that in the chat as well, and I'll get back to you later, pretty much. It's kind of how the YouTube thing works. But yeah, we'll mess around and see how it goes. Any other thoughts?
No. I mean, it's just an awkward map.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of variability.
Yeah, I see it too, where it's just like it really is going to depend on how the team runs.
I mean, it's pretty funny too, because even in quick play, you see all these people running around all over the place, especially flankers, and keeping up with your team, you're either like on point within 20 meters of each other, or all spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
So it just works in strange ways.
Pretty much, yeah. So it doesn't look like we have any questions. So any final thoughts, and then we can. I think it's a strange map, and it's gonna basically come down to who can manage the flank routes the best, and if the teams are about the same, then spawn vantage is gonna to win. But offense has the best ability to manage the spawn, so it could easily be a offensive map or a defensive map. I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to be getting control. Yeah. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Remember, as always, Sayonara and have a nice day. Bye.